Hey y'all, welcome back to the Creator Podcast. My name is Shan. I am the creator of this podcast and other podcasts. If you visit shanbypodden.com, you will see all of my podcasts on there. This one here is about art, creativity, and just bridging the gap of what happened in your childhood where you were truly creative and how did you get that creativity to follow you into adulthood. So this episode is not with a guest. It's just with but I do appreciate you checking out this podcast today. It is a very hot day. I've been doing mama errands today, and I was like, I should be able to record this episode today while I'm in the mood. Okay. So this is episode 3 of Creator Podcast. Okay. Don't mix it up with other podcasts. There are other podcasts that have creator in the title, but mine is just Creator Podcast. This is episode 3, and this episode is strictly about art not being a race. Okay. Because good art is not a race. The only person you should be in a race with when you're making good art is self to self. Okay. Who you were yesterday and who you're going to be today should be the only race that you should be concerned with when it comes to your art. I don't believe everyone's art is supposed to be the same. That's what makes it so fun, is that different people's art is different. And I think everyone gets better at art depending on the investment they put in themselves. Now, when I say investment, I'm not always talking about monetary. I'm talking about your time. I'm talking about, did you study the technique? Did you study the artist? Did you study what makes this paint better than this paint? What makes color pencil a great way to express the type of art that you want to do? What makes this spray paint brand better than the next spray paint brand? Are you blending well? Could you blend better? Are you practicing shading? Do you understand how light works when you're focusing light coming from a certain source? You know what I'm saying? Spending time to understand that will always make your art better, because when you know better, you do better. Okay. So the more time you spend learning about a technique you want to master, your art is going to be better. So for me, why I say it's not a race is because how this person is over here investing in a certain technique might not be how I'm investing in a certain technique. Back in the day, when I was dating someone, the way that they would start their drawing of a person or drawing of a figure or a cartoon was shape first. So I knew that the way they learned how to draw was mastering the shape first, and then they went in with the details, and they never started with deep hard lines. He will always get on me about that. You always got these hard lines. The way I did artwork was seeing what I wanted to draw, visualizing what I wanted to draw, and confidently making those lines without doing the shape, right? And I'm not saying whose technique is better than the next one, because the ending results will tell you whose technique is better or whose step process has a better result. But everybody learns differently, right? I will say his art felt more tangible. Like, I can tell, like, he understood lighting. I could tell he understood shading. I could tell that he understood how a hand is supposed to move when it's in a certain position. I hate drawing hands. Like, drawing hands and drawings and people, I hate drawing hands. Some people master drawing hands down to the creases, the curves, how a hand looks like when it's like this versus like that. How do you draw a hand where you're getting all your angles correctly? Like, I hate drawing hands. So a lot of times in my artwork, you will see me draw models and their hands are not showing, or me putting something in their hand. You know what I'm saying? Because I hated drawing hands. I also hate drawing teeth, because if you draw teeth wrong, sometimes it'll look like chiclet gums, or it'll look not realistic. So I'll usually, when I would draw people's faces, I would try to draw people's faces with their mouth closed. Okay. Either you make a decision to master what you want to draw, or you limit yourself in what you want to draw. And that's a personal decision you're going to have to make. So my whole thing is, how have I improved from last year or last month or last semester, right? That's your personal journey. So when we start comparing artist to artist, artwork to artwork, or you admire a certain artist so much that now all of your artwork looks like you're trying to copy a certain artist, that's when you have to step back. That's when you have to step. You're too far deep. Okay, you're losing yourself while being fascinated in how someone's art looks, someone's style looks, and when that happens, you have to disengage. So when I would want to think about how I would want a clothing collection to look, I'm not looking at clothing for a week. And then that following Sunday, I'm going to start creating how I want my artwork to look, right? And that's very important, to disengage, because you will mentally regurgitate somebody else's style. And then they're going to think that you're doing something that's very much copycat, right? So keeping old work that you did and looking back at it, that's fine. I do that all the time. But keeping old work and trying to catch up to what you used to do when is old, is outdated, you could do better, it's kind of a pointless process. So when I say good art is not a race, meaning if you get better with the art that you do that looks like your art, then you just get better on your time. Somebody else cannot get better with my style of art because that's my style of art. It's kind of like a fingerprint, right? They could try to copy. They can make digital copies and trace. You know what I'm saying? But to me, if you're trying to be good at your art, then invest in yourself. Spend the time, have the patience, learn the technique. You know, if you don't understand watercolor, work with someone that understands watercolor, or watch videos of someone that understands watercolor and learn how to be better. But this episode right here is mainly about art is not a race. Welcome to the Creator Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. I am on Red Circle audio, and if you would want to watch the video, is Shannon Pods on YouTube. But this is the episode that we're going to get into today. What's up? Some people who might create or want to get better with their art, they may wonder, how do I get better as an artist? And I think the answer is different for everybody. Some people need to spend more time on their techniques. Some people need to buy better products. Some people need a better art space. Some people need to think through what they think they want to do before they start. Some people need to stop thinking so small. Some people need to think bigger. Some people need to think smaller. So it all depends on who your audience is, who's critiquing you, who's motivating you, and do you have friends who are also talented that you respect, that you check in with? Because some people don't have a creative family that they can check in with. And when I say a creative family, kind of like in podcasting where I have a pod fam, And my pod fam is different podcasters who are podcasting for different reasons. All of our reasons for why we are podcasting is not the same. And we don't mind. And nobody's stepping on each other's toes. No one's blocking anybody from opportunities. We talk about what's happening in podcasting freely, and group chats on the phone and Zooms. And we're comfortable being our true selves when it comes to our shows, our individual projects, right? You need that when you're in the art world. You need someone who's also a great artist that will tell you straight up, that sucks. I think you could do better. You should try this brand of oil paint. What you call it, got a sale going on some canvases. I know you want to stock up on your canvases. This is a great time. You know, like people who have an in when you can't think clearly for yourself. People who know what art shows are coming up that you need to get into. People who have connects for certain things that you're working on so you don't have to pay full price. That type of stuff. You need a creative family for feedback, for brainstorming, and for collaborating, right? People you could trust. How much time should you give your talent? Depends on what you want to do with your talent. Are you trying to be 110% focused on your talent and not working for somebody? I think you should go 110% in the effort. I think you should not make yourself homeless. But I think you should dedicate more time when you do have free time to your craft, to that thing that you're saying you want to do 100% of the time. Right now, I would love to be lying down in my bed, eating my popcorn, or watching a show or a movie that does not matter. But I'm podcasting. When does this episode drop? In September. What month is it? August. Okay? That's because I want to be able to create full time to have the life I want to live. I don't want to clock in with no one. I don't want to be at this job 10 more years later. I don't want to check in with somebody because I need to take PTO so I could go to this studio. I need to take PTO so I can go to this art exhibit. Like, that's not what I want my setup to be. So in my spare time, I'm doing this because this is what I want. You cannot want more for someone else that does not want it for themselves. You cannot want someone else's art to be better if they're not working on their art being better. You cannot want someone to market themselves more than they want to market themselves. And marketing yourself costs time and greenery. Okay? Marketing yourself and being consistent about that will cost you money. Hold on, I'm getting a call. Irritate me, right? I'm in the middle of recording, and he calls me out the blue. He didn't say that he was not going to bring her. He didn't say that he needed me to meet him. And I met him to drop her off. Bring her to the house. Yeah, that. Put that iPad out here. Now. One, two, three. Give me the cord. If you're not charging it where I can see it, you're not having it. And you're not going to be on it. No, you cannot do TV while I'm recording. Put it on airplane mode. And you're interrupting me right now. Close your door. Anyway, you have to have people who are going to hold you accountable. So you could be accountable about what you can do, what you're not doing, what you should be doing, and really dedicating yourself to being better, right? Um, did you give up on getting better? A lot of people mindfully, before they physically give up on getting better, they give up on getting better. Whether you don't feel confident, whether you're just exhausted, whether you don't have faith in yourself that you're going to be able to do what you set out, whether you feel defeated, whether you just can't pass that hump of, that's nice. How can I make it great? You have to figure that out. And if you don't want to figure that out, be honest with yourself on the fact that I don't want to be better. I want to serve mediocre. Okay? Because a lot of people are serving mediocre and trying to put that $800 tag on it, that $1,200 tag on it, that $1,400 tag on it. And it's no, I've seen better. I feel like you're capable of better. You can do better. If you don't want to do better, then don't do better. You know what I'm saying? And you really have to be honest with yourself because I know when I'm not trying. I know when I don't want to do something. I know when people ask me, hey, can you do this for me? Can you draw this for me? I know when I don't want to do it. Be honest with yourself on when you don't want to do something, right? Um, do you need to read up on different styles of art? Do you need help on the marketing? Do you need help on promo? Do you need help on getting in touch with art galleries? Do you know how many pieces you need in order to have a show at an art gallery? Do you want to have your own space and have a personal art show? All of those things. If you are not going to remain consistent, do not ask for other people's time. If you are not going to remain consistent, do not set out dates and make people look forward to something that you're not even trying to show up to. Because a lot of people do that too. And a lot of people disappoint an audience that they shouldn't be disappointing because all you had to do is be honest, right? Do you understand the principles and the art elements of what you're doing, right? There's a lot of people that don't understand vertical and horizon points. There's a lot of people that don't understand shading. A lot of people that don't know what monochromatic is. How did we get here? There's a lot of people that don't understand why they have to stretch their canvas. There's a lot of people that don't understand why you can't leave paint brushes. There's a lot of people that don't think stippling is that great. There's a lot of people that do. There's a lot of people that don't want to um, confess that you've been rewrapping and unwrapping and rewrapping the same bullshit for the last 3 years. When are you going to do something new? Right? And it requires a certain level of honesty for you to recognize that you could be doing something better, right? Why do you feel behind? Do you feel behind because people that you were in art class with or in college with are making millions now and you're not? Do you feel behind because you haven't touched a paintbrush in like 6 to 10 years? Do you feel behind because you thought you were going to make it in tech and tech is not working out? So now you're trying to push something that you were creating back in the day out now and you just feel lost in the sauce as to how you go about that? Do your research. When you want to buy a pair of shoes, you know what to put in Google. When you want to know when a movie is playing and where it's going to be at, you're going to put it in Google. We Google everything. We even have a Google thing now that you can take a picture of something and Google will find it for you and tell you where it is, how much it is, how much they got in stock. So a lot of people I feel like are just lazy about what they're saying that they want to do. They want someone else to do it for them. People are not going to do it for you. And if people do it for you, you're going to pay buku money when you could have did it for yourself, right? Knowledge to me is everything. And what's the point of being talented but not wanting the knowledge on how to connect the dots for yourself? What's the point, right? So when it comes to art, be honest with yourself about why you feel behind. Are you really trying? Are you really working on what you need to work on? Are you reading up on what you need to read on? Are you watching videos? Is your vision even possible? Or is it just in here? That's another thing too. And connecting your concept and providing for yourself is not easy, right? You'll put more in trying to create this vision, this idea that you have, and be at $0 of what you're bringing in. Unless you have something that is already generating income for you continuously coming in. That's what you want. You want one project to fund another project to bring in more money so you could do a third project. And you want to build on top of that. It's kind of like stocks. You want to put a certain amount of money in, make a certain amount of money, take that money that you made, put it in something new to make your money work for you in multiple different places, right? Same thing when it comes to investing in yourself with artwork. Okay. Just because you don't like art from other people doesn't make it not art. A lot of people have an issue with that. A lot of people feel like, oh, that's trash, that's ugly. Who cares about that? Why are they selling this for $14,000? Why do they feel like they have the nerve to be in this museum or at this exhibit? Why would they even blah, 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 blah. Sound like a hater. You sound like you're mad that they got that opportunity and they did what they needed to do, right? Find out what you need to do for you and stop knocking somebody else's hustle. Okay? I see a lot of art that I'm just like, don't get it, don't see it, not for me. But it might be for someone else. Okay? I've seen people use a mop with paint and splash it across a canvas that's probably costing them $500 in size. And they're done. And I'm just like, when did you start? You know what I'm saying? That's real stuff that happens out here. You might ask yourself, when people see my art, what do they think? Right? Some artists are bold enough to ask people directly, what do you think about my art when you see it, right? Some artists don't want to know. Some artists do not care, right? What do people wonder when they see or feel your art, right? And when I say feel, mean you're not supposed to touch it. Don't touch it. But as far as like emotion, what do you feel when you see this? What does this make you think about? What does this connect you to, right? It's different for everybody. That's why when people go to like art shows and stuff and they be like, well, what is it? What is it supposed to be? How am I supposed to feel? That's personal. I can't tell you how you're supposed to feel. But people are always wondering why you did it, how you did it, where were you in life when this was created? When did you do it? And what did you do it for? What was it supposed to be? What was this supposed to do? Right? And to me, it's kind of like drawing is a skill, painting is a skill, uh, creating an experience for people to rethink what they thought is a skill. And with all of those skills, they only get better if you keep working on it, right? Once you stop working on it, you have now limited yourself on that thing. Someone might see it and pick it up and be like, ooh, they never tried this. Let me try this, and I'm gonna call it that. You can't be mad at they're calling it something else because they added another element to something you dropped off, right? So it's kind of like a baton. You pass it or you develop it, and you just do the whole run by yourself. Or you could just pass it. Somebody else can do it better, do on a bigger scale, grab a bigger audience, grab a younger audience, connect with a different generation. You know what I'm saying? You cannot control art. You cannot speed up art and expecting it to have the same value, right? I think a lot of art now is just heavily processed, um, digital to the point where it loses its oomph for me. And I think some art is cool to have prints of, but some art is not meant to be printed, right? Some art needs to be left being its own unique thing. And I wish more people would do that. I'll tell you more after these messages. Boop, boop. We'll be back. Thank you so much for checking out the Creator Podcast. If you would like to support this show, please check out shambypodden.com to see ways that you can support this show or Thick and Grits Pods. That is also on shambypodden.com. You can also find episodes on YouTube with Shannon Pods and on your favorite podcast app. Now back to the show. I just honestly feel like all artists don't need the same thing from the art that they create. Some people create the art that they create because that's just what they like. Some people create the art that they create because that's the technique that they love the most or they enjoy the most. And if somebody else enjoys it, great. Some people create for the audience and always want to please the audience. Whatever reason it is that you create, cool. Find a way to always click with your audience, the people that support you the most, right? And for me, it's kind of like how you want to express your own art. That's your personal business. But if there's a way for you to be better at it, learn how to be better at it. If there's something you can study for a while and then come back to it, you'll be amazed at how much better it is from what you used to do, or an easier way to do something you thought you had to do only one way, right? So when it comes to different art, I don't like knock people's art or tell people that that's not art. It might be art to someone else, just not me. Just like relationships. You might be great for someone else, just not me, right? And so I never understood sidebar. I never understood why so many people needed to come with the bride to look at the dress for her try-ons because their opinions do not matter. If you love the dress, then that's the dress that you should pick, right? I never understood the need to have opinions about somebody else's wedding. That was their personal vision. They paid for it. They invited you. Hush, drink up, eat up, and dance and go home, right? But that's how I feel about art. Go experience art. Have your thoughts about the art that you saw. Go home, right? One critic should not completely change what you do with your art, right? Now, if there's a level that you're not upping because you're lazy or you're bored or you don't want to respect how you can express something in a certain way, whether it's charcoal, paint, pencil, um, objects, film, that's on you. That's on you. Okay. Whether it's modern art, contemporary art, realism, it doesn't matter. There's always a way to be better. There's always something to learn. And art is not one thing, it's multiple things. So just enjoy it, right? But it's not a race. Good art is not a race. Okay. You can do art up until your 90s if your health will allow it. Um, you can make money on art as long as you keep the value and the balance and the audience, right? So just work on your art, go at your own pace, look on your own paper, like back in the day in school, and enjoy the process because art is not supposed to be some conveyor belt of productivity. It's supposed to be an enjoyable process about how you want to express the vision you're having. My name is Shan, and this podcast is about art, creativity, and bridging that gap from childhood to adulthood. And today I just wanted to talk about the fact that good art is not a race. If you're working on a project, you don't have to be loud on the fact that you're working on a project with someone. Wait till the project is finished and drop that shit. Okay. Wow, the girls. Okay. Um, if you're doing something that has never been done before, stop asking the public what they think about the idea because they're going to think the idea sucks because they don't feel like they're capable of making that idea real. If you believe that idea can be real, work on your shit and make it possible. Make it happen. That is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast today. My name is Shan. You can follow me at ShanbyPodden on TikTok if it's still around. Twitter, IG, and shambybottom.com. Thick and Grits Pods is a blog on shambybottom.com where I just drop my thoughts on different things. I post different things. Enjoy that. If you are looking for any promo spaces on any of my podcasts, I am open to that. Please DM me any details. Keep it strictly professional. Okay. I am not using my podcast to funnel dating. Okay, so please don't. And yeah, create, work on your craft. I'll be watching. Bye.